Most men never realize this. When a woman is with them, she is not only looking at who he is, but also how he measures up against others. In the hidden layers of female psychology, comparison is not always loud or obvious. It happens in silence, through her glance, her tone, her pauses in conversation. Sometimes, it hides in the way she reacts to other men's stories, their success, or even their small habits. Research in social psychology shows that our brains are wired to compare constantly, but women, especially in relationships, do it in a way that can be almost invisible. A laugh at another man's joke, a sudden interest in someone else's lifestyle, or the way she changes her standards, all of these can be subtle signs she is measuring one man against another. This is not about paranoia, it is about awareness. Because once you understand the psychology behind these comparisons, you can see through their silence. You'll learn when her interest is drifting, when she is secretly putting you in a mental competition, and how to recognize the shift before it becomes too late. If you want to uncover the hidden truths of human behavior and dark psychology, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. The psychology of comparison. Every human mind compares, it cannot help it. From childhood, we are trained to notice who runs faster, who scores higher, and who gets more attention. This habit does not vanish in adulthood. Instead, it becomes sharper, especially in relationships. A woman may sit next to you, but her brain might be quietly measuring you against the men she sees around her. Why does this happen? The answer lies in psychology. Comparison is the brain's way of making sense of value. It is not always about love or loyalty, it is about survival and security. In the past, women needed to choose partners who could protect, provide, and help them raise children safely. Even today, this ancient instinct is still alive. When she looks at you, her subconscious mind may be checking, is he strong enough? Is he ambitious? Is he attractive compared to others? This is not always a negative thing. Sometimes, comparison is just her way of confirming that she made the right choice. But when the balance starts tipping, when another man appears more exciting, more confident, or more capable, she may begin to mentally shift her interest without ever saying a word. Here is the dark part. Comparison is often invisible. A man may think his relationship is stable, but deep inside her mind, she may already be running silent tests. She might notice how another man speaks with confidence, how he dresses, or how he treats people, and then reflect back on you. She may not even admit this to herself, but the silent scorecard is active. One of the strongest triggers for comparison is exposure. The more she sees examples of different types of men, the more she unconsciously places them side by side. At work, at social events, or even through social media feeds, new images of what a man could be shape her inner judgment. Think of it like an unspoken competition. You may not even know you are in it, but her brain is already picking winners and losers. This is why small details matter, the way you carry yourself, the tone you use when speaking, even how you react under pressure. In her hidden comparison chart, each of these details either strengthens your place or weakens it. Comparison can also become addictive. Psychologists call it upward comparison, looking at someone who seems better and wondering, what if I had that instead? While it might stay as a silent thought, over time it can grow into desire or regret. This is where relationships start to crack, often without warning. The truth is, comparison is natural. You cannot stop her mind from doing it. But awareness of how it works gives you power. Once you understand that her brain is always running these invisible tests, you can start noticing when the balance is shifting. That is the first step in protecting yourself from the silent dangers of hidden comparison. Subtle behavioral signs. When a woman starts comparing a man to others, she rarely says it out loud. Instead, it shows in her small actions, her tone, and the way she interacts with you. These signs are not always obvious, but once you learn to notice them, the hidden picture becomes clear. One of the first signs is her shift in attention. If she suddenly becomes more interested in stories about other men, colleagues, friends, even celebrities, it could be more than casual talk. Pay attention to the way she lights up when mentioning another man. Does her voice change? Does she smile differently? These tiny signals often reveal that she is not just sharing information, she is mentally placing that man on the comparison scale. Another subtle sign is the way she reacts to your flaws. Every person has weaknesses, but when comparison starts, those flaws begin to stand out more sharply. Maybe she used to ignore your messy habits, your short temper, or your lack of interest in fashion. Now, she points them out more often, sometimes with irritation, sometimes with sarcasm. This change often comes because she has seen another man who seems to do it better. Then comes the body language shift. A woman who is secretly comparing may become less physically warm toward you. Their hugs feel lighter, the touches become less frequent, or the eye contact shortens. Why? Because in her mind, she is pulling back, almost as if she is saving her energy while she replays silent comparisons. Pay attention also to her silence. When she is comparing, she may not openly criticize you. Instead, she grows quieter, more distracted, as if her mind is somewhere else. In truth, it probably is. She might be replaying interactions with another man, analyzing his words, his tone, or the way he carries himself. One of the most powerful hidden signs is the sudden focus on change. If she begins suggesting that you dress differently, speak more confidently, or act more like this, it is not random advice. It often comes after she has already seen those traits in someone else and secretly wished you had them too. Comparison also leaks through laughter. Notice how she laughs when she is with you versus when she is on the phone with someone else. If her laughter becomes more natural, more alive, and more frequent with another person, that is a strong indicator her brain is weighing experiences. The truth is, she may never openly admit that she is comparing you. But her small actions tell the story. A distracted smile, a sudden coldness, or a shift in energy, each of these is a clue that her attention is no longer resting fully on you. Comparison also leaks through laughter. Notice how she laughs when she is with you versus when she is on the phone with someone else. If her laughter becomes more natural, more alive, and more frequent with another person, that is a strong indicator her brain is weighing experiences. The truth is, she may never openly admit that she is comparing you. But her small actions tell the story. A distracted smile, a sudden coldness, or language and slip ups in conversation. One of the most revealing ways a woman shows she is comparing a man is through her words. She may not say, "I think he is better than you," but her choice of phrases, her examples, and even her jokes can expose her mind. Language often slips before awareness catches up, and that's where the truth hides. For example, she might begin mentioning other men in subtle ways. A casual remark like, "My coworker said this," or "My friend always does that," seems innocent. But pay attention to the tone and frequency. Is she highlighting traits you don't have? Is she praising qualities silently hoping you notice? These are the silent benchmarks she is setting. Another sign is comparative phrasing. Phrases like, "Some people are better at this," or "I know a guy who," indicate her brain is running mental comparisons. It is subtle, often masked as general observation or storytelling, but it reflects her mind's preoccupation with someone else. Notice how she reacts to your achievements or failures. When you succeed, does she downplay it slightly, or compare it with someone else's? When you fail, does she exaggerate it or use it as a measure against another man? These small linguistic choices are often unconscious but psychologically revealing. Tone and emphasis are crucial. Even if the words themselves are neutral, the way she says them can indicate comparison. A lingering pause, a soft sigh, or a raised eyebrow when mentioning another man shows her subconscious weighing. Stories from the past also matter. She may reminisce about experiences with other men, often framing them as better or different. It's rarely a direct insult, it is her mind setting a benchmark you are measured against. Even jokes can reveal comparison. If she teases you about being less adventurous, less confident, or less attractive, it may mask her mental ranking against another man. Humor becomes a tool to express her internal evaluations without openly admitting it. Language, therefore, is a window into her mind. Every slip, every casual mention, every pause or emphasis can be a clue that she is mentally comparing you to someone else, even if she never speaks it directly. Behavioral shifts and social media clues. Behavior often tells more than words. When a woman is secretly comparing a man to others, her actions start to shift in ways that may seem small but are psychologically significant. For instance, she may suddenly become more conscious of her appearance around you. Hair, clothes, posture, and makeup might all get extra attention, not just for herself, but to see how you react, or to subconsciously measure your appreciation against someone else's. Social media becomes another subtle stage for comparison. Likes, comments, and posts are no longer random. She may scroll through certain profiles more often, share content that hints at what she values in a man, or even react to photos and stories to signal her hidden standard. Every subtle notification or story she engages with can reflect traits she admires elsewhere, consciously or not. Notice how she behaves around friends or family. Does she brag more about her interactions with other men, or bring up qualities she finds appealing in them? She may do it casually, almost playfully, but her brain is logging reactions and forming benchmarks against you. Small behavioral cues, like checking her phone frequently after interactions with others or changing routines to align with perceived standards, are telling. Even subtle shifts in mood or attention, more laughter with someone else, longer eye contact in specific contexts, signal that comparisons are actively happening in her mind. Case studies show that when women compare secretly, they don't always do it consciously. It's often an unconscious pattern, observing, measuring, and evaluating without intending to hurt, but the effect on the man is real. A man may feel slightly off, sensing distance, subtle critiques, or unattainable standards that appear suddenly. The combination of small changes in behavior, increased social media activity, and subtle cues in conversation forms a clear pattern. She is measuring you against someone else, even if she never says it directly. How to respond and protect your self-worth. Once you notice that a woman is secretly comparing you to other men, the next step is understanding how to respond without losing your confidence. First, recognize that her comparisons often reflect her insecurities, not your value. When someone measures you against others, it is usually about what they desire or fear, not a factual judgment of who you are. Maintain clear boundaries. Avoid over-explaining or justifying yourself to meet her unspoken standard. When a man tries too hard to win these comparisons, he often loses respect in his own eyes and hers. Instead, focus on being authentic. Your actions, choices, and interests should align with your values, not an imagined ideal she may have in mind. Communication is key. If her comments or behaviors make you uncomfortable, address them calmly and directly. You don't need to accuse or confront aggressively. A simple, honest expression of how certain remarks or actions affect you can shift dynamics. Clarity can stop subtle comparison games before they escalate into emotional manipulation. Protecting your self-worth also means observing patterns without obsession. Notice recurring behaviors, but avoid creating stories in your mind. Paranoia often exaggerates minor signals into major problems. Psychological studies show that men who stay grounded and focused on self-value experience less emotional stress in situations where partners compare them subconsciously. Finally, remember that comparison is natural in human relationships, but repeated secret comparisons without transparency can indicate misalignment of expectations. Understanding this empowers you to make conscious choices about how much energy to invest, how to communicate effectively, and when to walk away if necessary. Your confidence, clarity, and emotional health are far more important than winning an unseen mental contest. This awareness helps you navigate relationships with a clear mind, ensuring that comparisons never define your self-worth or control your happiness.